Shalom, everyone. I hope you have had a blessed day, a very productive day. A lot going on in the news today. I don't know if anyone's keeping in touch what's happening in Israel and Jerusalem with Temple Mount, but the Palestinians are advocating for a war there. The PLO is advocating all Arabs do holy jihad against the Jews. Why? Because the Temple Mount is temporarily closed. It may be even closed at this hour from Arab access to Al-Aqsa, which is a mosque on Temple Mount, to be differentiated from the Dome of the Rock that's there too, that's over the place where King Solomon's temple used to be. But anyway, there was a firebomb attack, cocktail bomb, that was thrown by some miners against a police station, caught it on fire, did some damage. I think it may have hurt somebody. For security reasons, that's why the temple gates were closed to make sure that there was inspections and other things like that, safety controls and everything else. Because, you know, when you have a target attack against an Israeli security patrol or a security office there, that could also mean a trend for something more violent, more threatening coming soon. Of course, Grand Mufti, which is the main imam out of Jordan, he controls all the Jewish holy sites, believe it or not, and Arab is controlling all the Jewish holy sites in Israel. 4 out of 5 are under Palestinian authority, not Jewish authority. This is a status quo. We've talked about this before. The tomb of Joseph in Shechem, the tomb of Rachel in Bethlehem, the tomb of the patriarchs, the Kotel, of course, is under Jewish control. That was built by King Herod 2,000 years ago, a restraining wall that all Jews all over the world go to pray. But Har HaBayit, Temple Mount, is under Grand Mufti, the King of Jordan, King Abdullah II's control and authority. That's why Jews are not allowed to pray on Temple Mount. That's why Jews are not even allowed to go to Temple Mount during Muslim holy sites. Let's go back quickly on history here. As you know, the Palestinians, the Arabs, Muslims, Islam throughout the world claims Jerusalem as their sacred holy city, based on a night journey dream. Yes, the Prophet Muhammad had a dream. The story's in the Quran, you can read it, that he rode his magical steed up Temple Mount into heaven to the throne of God. He had a meet and greet with God. And then he came back in his dream to Medina when he woke up. Actually, historically, Prophet Muhammad, never set foot in Jerusalem. You know that? He never set foot on Temple Mount. But all of Islam, all of Muslims around the world, they claim sovereignty, exclusive authority over Temple Mount based on one thing, a night journey, a dream. What is a Jewish claim to Temple Mount? Well, it goes back to King Solomon back in 932 before Common Era, a long time ago. King Solomon built his great, magnificent temple during his time. Of course, he built it on a foundation. Every house has a foundation. That's where the Temple Mount comes from. Later on, about 2,000 years ago, King Herod rebuilt upon that Temple Mount a second temple that was destroyed later on in 70 CE. But anyway, Israel has been occupied by the Roman Empire. They've been occupied by the Persians. They've been occupied by the Ottoman Turks, occupied by Arab countries, occupied. But Jews have always been there. We've always lived there. Israel High. The Palestinians claim that the Jews are occupying their land. Well, it depends on who's the occupier, the chicken before the egg. Anyway. The UN gave Israel a very slim strip of land back in 1948 Well, the surrounding land areas, all the Arab countries declared war against Israel. They lost all these wars. They lost the wars in 1948, 1956, 1967, 2003. They lost the Golan Heights. Assad lost the Golan Heights up in northern Israel. They lost all this territory, this staging their territory they used to attack the Jews in Israel, to essentially to exterminate the Jewish people as a race, like Hitler tried to do and failed. But that's what it is all about right there, is that history versus philosophy, Jewish history, and our stance that we are there to stay, that we are natives to that land going back 3,700 years. We have archaeological digs and evidence, scientific, historical evidence, multiple books, multiple historical books, records point to the Jews were there for thousands of years. Islam goes back only 1,500 years. Christianity goes back 2,000 years. Islam is a relatively young religion. So we should respect everyone's right to live at peace and harmony in Israel, including Arabs. I'm not advocating a mass deportation of any Arab there. I am advocating a cease of violence there in Israel, so every Jew and Arab can live in peace and harmony with one another. Yeah. Hatikun Olam. Yeah. Mashiach days. That's possible, but there are too many Arab jihadists, Hamas, Hezbollah, imams from Iran, imams out of Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. They're all funding terrorist organizations. Mahmoud Abbas out of Samaria in his $1 million mansion is advocating violence against the Jews, saying the Palestinians came from the Canaanites and Philistines. There's no scientific evidence about that. The Jews' biggest double-edged sword and weapon is our history, is science that supports our history. That's what it's all about. If you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. And the Palestinian and Arab arguments that Jerusalem is their holy city and Israel is their land and not our land is not based on anything you can measure in a laboratory, but your imagination. That's all this Jew has to say about that. Shalom Aleichem. Take care of yourself. Really, no hate for Muslims and Arabs here. I'm just talking about history. I'm talking about things that you can fact find on Google or anywhere else. Read a book. Go to the library and read a book. Okay, I'm a man of faith too, but I'm a man of science and history, and this just doesn't hold any water. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem, whether you're Jew or Gentile. The Jews are having a very important election in April. Please pray for the Jewish people there. They're struggling. American Jews, wake up. Where are you? Bye.